its own event or its own
Right.
thing. Yeah. Cool. So let's shift gears and talk about you know, property managers that might want to get into this game of targeting people that, like, you have a portfolio or a small portfolio of investments that they could maybe get on as clients, and what that might look like. And then maybe you know, one of the things I think you're really good at is the technology, and so we could chat maybe a little bit about that.
Yeah, for managers who are looking, say, like we were talking about before this, we were talking about like a lot of long-term managers are sort of starting to dabble in the short-term rental game.
Mm.
It sounds intimidating, but it's not as intimidating as it sounds because I, there's a lot of technology out there right now, plugins and then also CRMs that make the process pretty seamless. Depending on how many properties you have in the portfolio, it's pretty. You really don't need boots on the ground. It might, in terms of like having a property manager in an area. Again, I would focus on one market at a time. But you can get away with a part-time maintenance person. The most important part is probably going to be your cleaning crew, and that's going to be up to you. There's pros and cons to either hiring your own, like managing the cleaning in-house, or um, teaming up with a local cleaning crew in the area that can handle the cleaning stuff. Which again, the cleaning is definitely like where I look at my cleaning crew as almost the manager of the properties themselves, because
Mm.
they're there at least twice a week. Um, or at least once a week, depending on what the booking looks like. So they see what needs to be replaced, what's damaged. If anything is damaged, they send me a picture directly, which I send directly to either Airbnb, VRBO, wherever the property is listed. So the technology piece is going to be huge. And again, it's all dependent on how big you are. If you have 10 cabins, you can probably get away with. There are messaging plugins where it's like, I would say 80% of your messaging is automated, and then you can hire virtual assistants to sort of take over the other 20% of the messaging, where it's like specific questions that are asked, or say if they're calling or something.
So the cleaning crew is almost your inspection crew. Like, they're doing
Absolutely.
somewhat of an inspection as well, not just coming in and cleaning. So they're identifying issues, submitting things to your maintenance team or your system for maintenance. And then you need people that are managing that, you know, and then you've got VAs that can help facilitate some of these things happening, right?
Right.
Now, what are some of the actual technological tools that you utilize that help you to systemize the business and make things simple for yourself?
The first one is, and I'll talk about maybe 4 or 5 tools here. The first one's going to
Cool.
be it's a tool and a company called StayFi. And I've talked about this tool so much now, and I've recommended it to anyone looking to get into short-term rentals. StayFi is essentially a little disk that plugs in the back of the router. And what that does is it email captures any guest that's using your internet. That one protects you from if the guest is doing anything illegal on your internet, which might happen. But second, it captures everyone's email in the cabin. So it's a it's you're essentially taking digital marketing principles and applying it to brick and mortar business, which is the short term rental stuff, which is a little
Cool.
difficult to do. But if you can master that part, it's like you can essentially capture your customers. So StayFi, imagine like you're walking into a Starbucks, you walk into an airport, and you have to enter in your email address to be able to get access to the Wi-Fi. It's the same idea here, but it's geared towards short-term rentals. So from there, we capture their email. We use MailChimp to push out marketing emails, but we push out maybe seasonal emails, like 3 or 4 emails a year, just saying, hey, like this season's coming up, or Valentine's Day is coming up. Would you like to book with us? Originally, or when you're starting off, you can just put your Airbnb link directly in there. But as a manager who wants to build a bigger short-term rental business, you can use this to sort of take people off of Airbnb VRBO, where they book initially with the short-term rental sites, but then you can build a platform on the back end to sort of capture direct bookings, where you're not paying both the guest is not paying the processing fees, and then same thing with the host. You're saving money on that end, where you're
Smart.
sort of you have more control over the guests, which is what we realize is very important.
Yeah,
It's
so you're
controlled.
shifting
Yes,
from just traffic that's fed to you by Airbnb, and you're taking that traffic so that it doesn't always have to come back through that, and creating it's your own traffic. It's traffic you
absolutely.
own now.
You're
You
building a
have
list.
their
You're
email.
building a list with the short-term rentals.
What and for those emails that you capture, do you have any like even anecdotal data or information on how many rebook at the same property? Is that common?
It is pretty common. I don't have exact numbers on that, but we do see a boost in bookings, say like a couple days after we push the email out. Right now, we're still working on building out the back end platform. We're just pushing them directly back through Airbnb right now. But companies like Airbnb and VRBO have metrics that show like, hey, this person has rebooked with you this many times. And then people who are looking to get into more of an advanced system, we use Streamline, or we're going to be using Streamline. Streamline vacation rental software is top of the line, where you can syndicate syndicate to the top short-term rental sites, and then it sort of syndicates all the messaging too that comes from the different sites, so you have one platform, which I'd really recommend doing. Like if someone is coming up to a manager and saying, hey, I want to take over your property, what can you do for me? The first thing I recommend is always, are they just on one platform? If they're just on Airbnb, if they're just on VRBO, you can already there's already room for growth there by just putting it on a couple other platforms. You're putting more eyes on your property.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, very cool. So Streamline for syndication is one of the things you mentioned. You mentioned MailChimp for getting emails out periodically to your list or some sort of newsletter. What other tools are you using to kind of simplify the business?
Right now, a digital guidebook is very effective. We like to essentially plan. I started stole this idea from my wife and I had vacation in Tulum Beach on a resort, and
Mhm.
when we arrived, the resort had practically planned our trip for us, where it's like, hey, if you want to do a cave diving trip, this is this. If you want to, this is what your day would look like. If you want to go visit the pyramids, this is what your day is going to look like. If you just want a chill day and just want to go visit restaurants, this is what your day could look like. So we did the same thing there, where we planned maybe 3 to 4 days. Like here, where we have like over 100 breweries in this city. So we do like a brewery day, we do a hiking day, we do a waterfall chasing day, and it's like all that's in the digital guidebook, where you could put links to different things in the digital guidebook, and it's just sent out. The link is sent out with the check-in instructions. Same thing with you can get with local restaurants or local providers and be like, hey, can you give me like a 10% discount? And then I'll put it in my digital guidebook where the guest can use like almost like a QR code, where you can just generate a QR code. Um, yeah,
So for the digital guidebook, is this just like a Google document, or is this
right.
like
We use a company called Hostfully, and Hostfully is specifically a short-term rental digital guidebook.
host fully?
Yeah, Hostfully. Host and then
Okay.
Fully. Yeah.
Okay,
Pretty
cool.
cheap too, man. It's like, I think it's like $15-20 a month per property.
Got it. And so what advantage does Hostfully give you over just throwing it in a Google document, for example, and just putting
The
some
templates are
links and
super
stuff?
easy to use. You can also track like how many people are actually looking at it.
Mm,
I mean, Google, I would say the templates, and then also Hostfully does have a back end system, just like Streamline. So like Streamline, I believe it's a minimum of 15 properties. If you're just starting off, Hostfully, I believe, is like $25 a month per property, where it's the same type of syndication CRM, where it pushes out to the other short-term rental sites. So you can sort of sync those two together.
got it. Yeah, I had a software company on one of my